Welcome back to the McCowan Podcast. Hodge in today for Bob. So, David, I got to tell you, I spent some time with John Gibbons in Lloydminster, Alberta, and Saskatchewan last September, and he lamented that he was probably done in baseball. He probably told me that his retirement's pretty good, and he loved podcasting. And Shazam, here he is. He's now the bench boss of the New York Mets. John Gibbons, what the hell are you doing?
Hey, well, I'm glad you had me on it, but what happened? You couldn't get Ohtani on here or something?
Hold on. No. You get this job, and you go to Yellowstone Park for 12 days, and then you got meetings, and you probably got your own podcast to do. You're a busy guy still.
Well, I told you refused. Ohtani turned you down, so you got to come to me now, man. Can I get a break anyway?
Okay, so this before Dave jumps in here, I got to. Why are you taking this job? What's going on? Come on.
John, you know what? I missed the game. I think I've told you before, I missed the competition. I missed the boys in the clubhouse. And it really came out of nowhere. It wasn't, I will tell you though, when I saw the Mets hired Carlos Mendoza, and I didn't know Carlos at all, but I'd heard some good things about him. And he had a pretty good gig over there with the Yankees, so he knew what he was doing. But when they first hired him, I thought, you know what? Since he hasn't done it before, maybe they'll look for somebody with some experience, And then I just dropped it. That just came to my mind. And then a few days later, DeMarlo Hale, my old bench coach, Toronto called me and said, I talked to Carlos. I know him. And I threw your name in there. Can he call you? I said, sure. And then a couple other coaches, same thing. They said, that's how it all started. It wasn't like I pursued it. And here I am, but it's going to be pretty cool for me. My career, my very, very mediocre career started as a New York Met, and now I'm back.
And I mean, did that make the decision easier? Because once a Met, why not once a Met again?
Yeah. Dave, you know what? I'm a Met and a Blue Jay, I guess is probably the way to sum it up. And you can't beat them, you join them, right?
Well, and I'll answer your first question of this day. Why you're not Ohtani? You are more affordable for us. But if we're talking about your past as a New York Met, your playing career, of course, was in their organization, and as the bullpen catcher for the 1986 World Series champion New York Mets, and you have a World Series ring, do you not?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody else's memory of that World Series was the Bill Buckner era in Game 6. What is yours?
Nobody can remember any of the hits I got in that series because I didn't get any.
Yeah, I know.
That's for sure.
You mentioned that.
You know what, Dave? Gary Carter. I went up on August 1st. Gary Carter was playing first base, and he dove for a ball and broke his thumb. So I went up and I stayed with him for those 2 months. And then, of course, stayed through the playoffs. And, I knew most of those guys. I broke with the team in '84. My career was kind of spiraling and very disappointing. Then they went out and traded for Carter, who was the best catcher in the game, so he had to do it. So, but I still felt like a part of the team. And the fact they kept me around, I got to experience it with it because I came up through the minor leagues with a lot of those guys. And, when it was such a good team. That's my memories of that team, and it was a wild bunch, no doubt about it. But one of the greatest teams ever. So I played a very, very small part on that. And it was a team that deserved to win, and the way it all happened, it was almost like the baseball gods came, interfered like they should have. But the way that Game 6 developed, that doesn't happen in the big leagues, that's, it really doesn't. But that just shows you what pressure can do to you. The fact that I can say, you know what, hey, I played a small part on a great team is very satisfying.
Well, how did it feel to get Jesse Orosco ready to save Game 7? I mean, there you are. All you need is 3 outs.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Jesse's a special guy. I think he pitched longer than anybody in the game. I think 20-something years. He had that prime role, man. As he got older, he'd come in and face one guy and go sit down. But he was in his prime back then, and there wasn't anybody better. But that's back. That was back when they didn't. He carried the workload along with Roger McDowell and a couple other guys. It wasn't like it is today. These guys go one inning and disappear, go sit down and wait for tomorrow. These guys work, and they were all running on fumes. And even probably a more exciting moment for maybe not historically, but the way he finished that game down there in Houston to get to the World Series. It was like a 16, 17 inning game in the Astrodome, and he was on the mound. And yeah, a special guy.
I actually, Dave brought it up. When you think about that 86 World Series, we always remember game 6. We never remember game 7 at all.
Yeah. And the Red Sox were up in that one too, and then, of course, Ray Knight goes on to win the MVP, but oh yeah, they were, they were crowning them champs. It's almost like, when, they were getting their clubhouse ready to celebrate. You know how that works. They got to tear it all down. And I think they were even talking about, was it Bruce Hurst was going to be the MVP, because, it was a foregone conclusion, 2 outs, nobody on.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, it's the right team won, even though the Red Sox were really good, but the best.
Was that a tight clubhouse, the 86 Mets?
Yeah,
or,
John,
were there factions?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was a tight group, but they had their cliques. There were some factions in there, and they fought each other, man. A lot of fisticuffs type stuff going on. But one thing they did come game time, man, they came together and they played to win every night. And they were kind of like a hockey team in a way, because everybody wanted to fight them, and it wasn't. I mean, there wasn't that many fights going on, but that was kind of they were gunning for them, and there was things breaking out all the time. So, of course, nobody in baseball is tough enough to play hockey, though.
Oh boy. All right.
By the way, Dave, don't worry. He says this bullshit all the time.
Is that not true though?
Well, I think it's a different toughness, but because I'm not sure there are, there are aspects of a baseball player that we all think that it looks easy, and it ain't easy, and that I don't think we really understand. Whereas, most people in our country play hockey, so they know it's tough, but I don't think we understand at times how grueling baseball can be.
Yeah, but if somebody gets their tooth knocked out of baseball, they put them on the DO for 2 weeks.
You listen. You tell Pete Alonso he can't play defense in the NHL. See what he says.
Oh, is he a big hockey guy?
No, I don't know. But he's a big guy.
No, he looks scary. That's all.
Oh yeah, put him in the make him a goalie, man. He's a big dude. He cover that net.
Okay, we got one guy you might not want to face with that line, but anyway, somebody has to ask, in a general sense, what does a bench coach do? What do you expect your duties to be?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet either, Dave. That's a great question.
Well, I was at lunch with our friend Paul Beeston the other day, and I asked him what Gibby will be doing as a bench coach, and he said they'll make him run spring training. So get ready.
Hey, Beast probably says, "What was Gibby doing as a manager?" I mean, what the?
Oh, he knows that.
No, you know what, Dave? It's like an assistant manager. You're kind of you keep an eye on the guy, make sure things are going smooth. You're a sounding board. Every manager in the relationship with the bench coach is different. Some guy, the guys who become managers, they know enough of the game. They're pretty sharp dudes that, they know how to run, or they see a lot of things. They're on top of things, right? But we can get blinders on sometimes. So you got that guy next to you, maybe point some things out, or give you some reminders, or take care of the little things like pinch running, maybe pinch hitting, defense late in the game, just to keep you abreast of those things. And but it really comes down to what the manager wants. When I was doing it, I always locked in on the pitching, right? I used to be a catcher, and so I spent most of my time with the pitching coach on that stuff. And then DeMarlo Hale, he'd take care of all the other stuff or remind me about certain things like that. And then I guess you just wait around. If the manager gets ejected, you just take over. So but they, I don't know when they started a bench coaching. Probably in the 90s, because they sure as heck didn't have him in the 80s.
But wasn't this always the pitching coach? To me, like there was always that lieutenant that was with the manager. I mean, in Kansas City, I always thought Charlie Lau was the number 2 guy. For
Well,
some
he was-
reason, I always
Gibby,
thought
Gibby
that.
was for a couple of years there, right? You
Yeah,
benched
it was after I got fired from the
just in case you've forgotten.
yeah. Hey, Johnny's going way back. He's dating himself with the Charlie Lau. He's bringing up Charlie.
Well, you know, I was
No,
just
you're
trying to
right,
be
though.
nice to. I'm trying to be nice to you, you know, because I know you're a vintage guy, you know.
No, but you know what? Hey, but nowadays, I mean, the number of coaches they got on the staff is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, I mean, there's somebody for every. You know, when you brought up a while ago about organizing spring training, I actually don't have to do that. They have another
Oh.
coach that does that. That's all that's what they do. And good. It's a good thing because I've never done it before. I told Carlos, the guy I'm going to be working for, that I've never done that. I don't. Your first big league camp as a manager, you probably want somebody who knows a little bit more about what they're doing than me.